we move on to the two keynote addresses next. That's on clinical preventive cardiology track for 12 minutes each. I'd like to welcome Padma Shri Professor S.C. Manchanda, Professor Rick Levy, Drs. S.M. Kanitkar, Usha S. Nair, and Professor Ravi Komati Reddy, along with Dr. Mala Goswami. The first presentation is on yoga and coronary artery disease regression. Our invited speaker is Professor W. Selvamurthy. He is the president of Amity Science Technology and Innovation Foundation, and he's been the former distinguished scientist and chief controller of research and development at Defense Research and Development Organization. Professor Murthy, please.
Thank you very much. I think this is a very important lecture because the research has been done right here in this institution. Dr. Selvamurthy, who's one of the most brilliant scientists in the field of yoga and has done huge amount of work. He's a very well-known figure. He was the director of DPAS and now also very, very active. He himself is a spiritual person who follows yoga. Let's hear from him, very important, how the heart disease is reversed by yoga. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Professor Manchanda, all Dilwalas, as well as the spiritual beings assembled here for this very important congregation of a unification of science and spirituality. As I see here in the presentations and the venue chosen for this particular meet for the last 11th Congress is because to unify the cardiologists, the clinicians, the cardiac researchers together with the spiritual group. Then only it becomes complete. So I see a new dimension in the approach. I must compliment Dr. H.K. Chopra and also Dr. Satish Gupta and all others who are connected, Dr. Nanda, Naveen Nanda and others. And this initiative should lead to a very concrete outcome which should revolutionize, should bring a revolution in the cardiac health care. This is what I see, all the presentation, path-breaking outcome which is coming out from these deliberations will really lead to that. I'm going to focus primarily on how does the yoga, which is a very ancient wisdom, which started in our country 5,000 years ago, which has spread across the globe, how it can help in the cardiac health care. And which I have also included the lifestyle. So I'm not going to elaborate on this important, the quantum of the magnitude of the problem globally as well as in India, which is well known, which has been told by many people. So I will just only indicate that its problem is not going down, it is still, the slope is going up exponentially. So this is what we need to arrest. How do we do that? With our own ancient wisdom of good lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, which we used to have maybe 1,000 years ago, and now how we have moved out from that, how we can restore back to its original position. For example, here we are overtaking China in terms of the incidence of the cardiovascular disease and particularly the coronary artery disease. So how do we stop this? How do we show this, bring it down, and how do we also handle not only in prevention, but also how do we manage the patients of the coronary artery disease with lifestyle intervention. The problem is more the demographic advantage which we talk about, the 1.24 billion people and 50% below the age group of about 25 years. And if they fall sick with all the coronary artery disease, cardiovascular disease, then it is going to be a liability rather than an asset. So that is why we are worried about most of the diseases now, including the heart attack, occurs in the early age, which is very, very detrimental for the growth of our nation. Because India is the lighthouse, which was told in the morning. So if we have to be the lighthouse for a healthy lifestyle, that how do we do that? Through the deliberations. I'm going to present some data in that direction. If you look at the lifestyle today, the stress has become an inevitable companion in all walks of life. Whether you are a doctor, or you are a scientist, or you are a spiritualist, everyone is challenged with the lifestyle which has become an inevitable companion. So this is one of the important lifestyle factors. The other is unhealthy diet. We have moved out from nature and getting into all unnatural food, which is again causing a major problem today. The unhealthy diet, reduced physical activity. The body which was evolved to be physically tough, living in the jungles, facing the vagaries of the climates, and living in caves, running away from predatory animals. So with that kind of evolution of the body, today with a sedentary living, it undergoes disuse atrophy. So this is the lifestyle which is affecting today the modern man with the cardiovascular diseases. The other one is the pollution, urbanization. This is yet another problem, yet another dimension as a etiological factor in the multifactorial cardiovascular disease. The other one is increase in the intermediate risk factors like dyslipidemia, hypertension, which was spoken, particularly Dr. H.K. Chopra showed path-breaking findings with regard to the ambulatory monitoring of the blood pressure for 48 hours, how important it is, obesity, hypertension, smoking, many other factors. So this is what is the major probable causes for the multifactorial model for the cardiovascular etiology. And there are many questions yet to be answered. How much is the contribution from genetic factors? Is the racial difference there? Are Indians predisposed through certain genetic factors like homocysteine? So there are many issues still unanswered for the cardiac scientists and clinicians to work together to answer them. Personality factors, the modern day life, stress and strains, and many more. Now coming to the studies which we have done, I would present some of those which have been done right here. Dr. Satish Gupta has been actually the pioneer in the field, and then I was able to partner with him to develop the studies further, and Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, whom we remember now, who has visited this hall and who has addressed from this hall, and when he talked to the Dilwalas and when he facilitated this program to take place, and his blessings is still there with us to spread this message across the globe. What is the outcome of this study which we have done for the healthy heart at Mount Abu right here with the participation of Global Hospital Research Center. And we had the help of also the advice, monitoring, mentoring of Dr. A.C. Manchanda, Dr. H.K. Chopra, which was available. So my acknowledgement and gratitudes to all of them who have been able to contribute. And many doctors, the cardiologists have contributed to this study. So my acknowledgement to all those, including the Dilwalas who has volunteered to be in the study. So what we did, we looked at the vegetarian diet, the healthy sattvic food, which included low-fat, high-fiber diet, 15% fat in that, and also the calories, we controlled the calories, the fiber content was increased. We also included the aerobic exercise of walking regularly in the morning as well as in the evening, which takes care of the sedentary living as a risk factor. Then the stress, we looked at Raja Yoga meditation, which is, you practiced it here, which you are going to do for next 3 days. So these were the lifestyle intervention, the vegetarian diet, the sattvic food, aerobic exercise, sedentary living, and stress management taken care by the Raja Yoga meditation as a lifestyle package. This is what we want to spread as a healthy lifestyle for the healthy heart. So we have in the yoga different aspects. Meditation is there, which you did in the morning today, the Raja Yoga meditation, and also the mantra, which was told by Sister Shivani. And there are many methods of even Ayurvedic intervention. I will straight away go that in the types of yoga, we selected for our study the Raja Yoga, which is perhaps the highest form of yoga, where you directly approach the mind, not going through the body, the asanas, straight away you reach the mind, which is so powerful and can influence even the body as well. And it has prophylactic, promotive, and curative potentials, so we blended that in our study besides the healthy lifestyle. So some of the glimpses which I will give, yoga is prophylactic, which will take care of all this, the stress-causing factor. I'll give you some of the data to illustrate that point of view. We also included asanas in earlier studies besides the lifestyle studies, and we used physiological, biochemical, psychological, and clinical variables to look at the prophylactic and promotive and curative aspects of yoga for the cardiovascular disease prevention and its management. I'll just only give a glimpse because the time factor. So this slide, I'll only give the message heart rate, which is shown over there, and which with the practice of yoga, you see the heart rate, resting heart rate comes down to the lower side of the normal range. It doesn't go below the normal range, but brings down. This is because of the parasympathetic tone which builds up through the yogic practice. The vagal tone which builds up brings all the cardiovascular, blood pressure comes down, systolic blood pressure, diastolic blood pressure, and heart rate comes down to the lower side of the normal range, thereby giving buffer for greater reactivity, better reactivity to the stress where all these parameters are going to be raised. So if you are already in the top of your normal range, you are going to shoot up here. But if you are here at the bottom of the normal range, you are going to come to an optimal level of arousal. This is what is the message. So yogic practice builds the parasympathetic tone, which gives protection against the stress-induced damage to the cardiovascular system. Similarly, this slide indicates, again, a busy slide, where before lifestyle intervention, you will see more of beta activities, less of alpha and theta, but with the practice, you will see a greater amplitude shift, which is coming to the lower frequencies, which is the theta as well as alpha, which is very important to have the tranquility of mind. So it is just not only building the parasympathetic tone, but it is the tranquility of mind, which is very important, which Sister Shivani also emphasized in the morning in the presentation. These are the quantitative data, alpha index going up, and which is shown, even theta, the before lifestyle intervention, after the lifestyle, not only alpha goes up, but the theta activity over a long-term practice, you will find theta also going up. Then we also did the functional MRI in Brahmakumaris who are meditating for a long time, because they meditate with open eyes, unlike in other practices where the eyes are closed. So you will see activation of occipital as well as the prefrontal, which we have found that not only in the unilateral, but we see bilateral activation over a period of time. Then we also did the heart rate variability spectrum, which shows an relaxed and activation of your the system. Then we also looked at hypertension, which is being talked about as one of the very important cardiovascular disorders. Can yoga help in management? Everyone claims that, but we demonstrated how yogic practice brings the blood pressure back to normal level. That is through activation of the baroreflex. The sluggish baroreflex, because of the baroreceptors in the carotid sinus, becomes sluggish, thereby onset of the hypertension. So once you can reverse and awaken the sentinel, keeping watch on the blood pressure, which is the baroreflex, you can reverse all the pathophysiological changes which led to the onset of the hypertension, including the catecholamine level going down, which is shown here, and also the renin-angiotensin mechanisms also get normalized. So we looked into the physiological mechanism of this claim that yoga is good for hypertension. Now coming back to the lifestyle intervention, we looked at many parameters, so I won't go into details because 48 seconds more. The dyslipidemia gets corrected, so this is a slide coming from this, and also the insulin leptin level, also you see here, it gets normalized, which all goes haywire in the coronary artery disease. Similarly, glucose tolerance curve, you will see a better tolerance being established through the insulin receptor mechanisms. Then all the hormone which indicate the stress level, you see it over here, the cortisol and the DHEA, all others get normalized. The message from this is all the bad hormones get normalized by this lifestyle intervention. Good hormones get enriched, like serotonin, melatonin, beta endorphin, all that you see here, which shows enhancement, which we'll show it in the next slide. The melatonin rhythmicity, which is like this before you went into. You see the rhythmicity get restored to the normal level, which used to be different in the patients. Now coming back to the coronary angiogram, which we did on more than 300 patients, and thanks to Dr. Satish Gupta, 3 cardiologists looked at every angiogram and they rated it in terms of how much is the blockade. You see in a control group, there is a progression of the disease. As you see, it becomes from 28%, it becomes 88. But whereas in the patients who underwent this lifestyle intervention, you will see the regression taking place. For example, in this, before the lifestyle intervention, 78.85% blockade, it has become 47.02, which is very, very significant in terms of the clinical application. So this is perhaps the unique finding from this. Using the angiograms, we were able to clearly demonstrate without any ambiguity that coronary artery regression takes place in many of the patients who had the best compliance. Like 89% of blockade before lifestyle intervention becomes 41%. And many more. I have just picked up a few slides just to just to come back to the mechanism, how does this lifestyle intervention act? The meditation, for example. All that, this is a psychophysiological entity in this energy system of the biological energy system. So thoughts is the first one. See, every problem starts in the mind and perhaps goes to the body. This is what Sister Shivani also mentioned in the morning. So thoughts are very important. So first you are regularizing that thought processes which gets disturbed in these patients. That gets converted into matter. Matter gets converted into neuropeptides, the good ones, and the bad ones gets corrected, influencing that 50 to 60 trillion cells in the system. So then the whole physiological, pathophysiological processes get corrected. Now coming back to two more slides. Please bear with me for 2 more minutes. And the first is, the message is, avoid and reduce the stress as best as you can. That only you can happen by your attitudinal changes, the mental attitudinal changes, psychological profile. You need to alter that. Method is Raja Yoga meditation as being practiced here and through the healthy lifestyle. Look at what is the purpose for which we are here. Why are we here? Who are we? Why are we here? If you ask these questions, then you will get the answer and your lifestyle will become a healthy, happy and peaceful lifestyle. Reduce the stress. Don't smoke. Smoking is one of the very important predisposing factors. And also balanced meal, which mostly it should be nature, close to the nature, instead of getting into junk foods. Avoid all those which disturb your dietary patterns, thereby the blood profile. The other is get regular exercise, which is very important. We become very sedentary. We never care for this body in which our soul is residing, because we are all souls, but we are residing inside a house, which is this body. Are we taking care of it? So I think get into regular exercise, clean up your body, toxins which accumulate over a period of time every day. You clean it up like you clean your house. The soul which is residing in the house is your body. So clean it not only externally, but internally. Regular exercise is very important. Meditation, which takes care of your attitudes and the purpose of your life over here. And to realize that we are spiritual being having human experience. So meditation helps you to achieve that. And keep your blood pressure under control, which is very important, predisposing causative factor, and also the blood lipid profile. Now the last slide. And we want to create this awareness. See, all that what we discussed today should not remain in this hall or in this region, but should go across the globe. So I think this message, with the centers, so many centers, hundreds of centers available for the Brahmakumari's Academy should spread across, not only through them to the various, the clinical as well as the paraclinical and paramedical group available across the country. Let us take it as a big mission to achieve this healthy heart. Then also promote health education right from childhood. You should start from parents should educate the child in all these dimensions so that they become healthy child. So we need to look at promote health education at the family, schools, colleges, universities. So education is to live healthy, happy. So I think that should form part, not only teach physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics and management, but we should create health education is very important. Build that healthy lifestyle over there. We should have health kiosks. That is, we need to have cheap health kiosks, whether you want to measure your blood pressure, blood glucose. We need to have such system in large number in our country. So that one recommendation should go from here for a country like ours. You cannot go to the clinical laboratories or to the doctor every time. So we should have health kiosks. Indigenous devices, including all that what we talked about, cardiac catheters are imported, stents are imported. So we should make our own systems. So I would drive this biomedical engineers and doctors to work together. Stress management should become not only in executives and corporates, but should become everywhere. We should be talking and practicing it and promote healthy lifestyle as coming out from the study. So thank you very much. And I have shot up by about 2 minutes. My apologies. And we all become ambassadors and missionaries to carry this not only to scientific community but to the general population. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Selvamurthy, for your excellent talk, telling us that meditation and yoga not only is useful for primary prevention but also for secondary prevention. It can regress and all. And therefore, I think your emphasis is quite right. It should be started in early childhood and all. You have written meditation as the fourth thing, but I would like to put it on the top, because meditation Once you do, your diet improves, you exercise, your smoking goes down. So I think this is a holistic lifestyle. And after Mr. Modi, who has made this yoga meditation as a global activity, I think many places in the world, like even in India, schools are going to make it almost compulsory. Thank you very much for it. Let's give him a big hand. Now,